How we perceive and understand the purposes of our emotions matters. The self-compassionate or self-critical lens and language which we use to talk to ourselves and others leaves an indelible mark, makes an impact on our emotional well-being. These are really important elements and aspects for us to be thinking about and contemplating as we start walking down the emotional path, start to explore the emotional journey of our medicine wheel. Let's start talking about emotional wellness. Sego, welcome my friends to Holistic Wellness with Michelle, the space where when we share our knowledge together, our wisdom arises. Our perception of the emotional experiences we walk through plays a really significant role in either our emotional regulation or dysregulation. And for this reason, it's really important that as we begin to explore and journey the path of emotional wellness, that we work to understand, work to establish within us the value of compassionate self-exploration with analysis. Now, there are a number of reasons as to why this area on the emotion wheel holds a really significant and a deep personal and emotional place for me. Way too many to mention for the length of this video. Maybe for other videos we can explore that. But for now, I just want to take a moment and share a couple of those points with you. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I work in a westernized healthcare setting. A setting where terms like diagnosis and illness and disease are pretty commonplace. A place where we have rather historically defined people by their illnesses. Very thankfully, though, I think I'm really observing that in more recent years, this is a system that seems to be really stepping and shifting away from that. And shifting in a healthy way towards seeing and working with people on a more holistic perspective. As I've also mentioned in other videos, I work in specifically a therapeutic setting, practicing cognitive behavioral therapy. A common goal that tends to come up for a lot of my clients sounds something like this. Hey, Michelle, I don't know what my emotions are. I don't know how to experience them. When I have experiences, they completely overwhelm me. They take over. They manage me. I really want to learn how to cope with them better, how to manage my emotional experiences when I have life experiences. I also tend to observe that as we begin the emotional journey, that my clients often use language that is self-critical, that is more geared towards systemic labeling and emotional ownership of things that really don't belong to them. The truth is, it's really hard for us to shift and change into an emotional wellness direction when we try to come at things from a more critical, self-punishing lens, thinking that that's the route to motivation and change. At the same token, I tend to observe a lot of, or a lack of, gentle self-compassion and acceptance of things as they are. On a personal note, I'm often struck by the lack of diagnostic language and labeling when I'm reading and exploring Indigenous literature, writings and oral teachings on areas of health, wellness, and well-being. And I find myself pondering, and I'm very curious about that. I find myself pondering that and why that might be. And so far what I've come up with is this. I keep circling back to a similar answer, and I kind of wonder if it really comes back to earlier teachings that I've already shared in my previous videos. And I'm pondering it here's the teaching. Let me just get to the teaching. Here's the teaching. I wonder if it comes back to, I am a spirit being on a human journey, which means that I'm having an experience. I'm not the experience itself. So I think that leads to, and really begs the question, why would I define myself through challenges, illnesses, diagnoses, if it's not actually me, a spirit being, having the experience? It's my human house having it. Interesting concept to ponder. What do you think? We are so much more than systemic definitions. Along our journey towards holistic wellness and emotional well-being, I have come greatly to value and appreciate and be grateful for the gifts of courage, self-compassion, and repeated trying as we examine and explore our perception of language. To ask ourselves, what purpose does it serve me? To serve others, to use critical self-language and labels to talk about myself or talk about others. Language can be a weapon, but it can also be a healer. It has the power to leave both positive and negative, indelible marks upon our emotional well-being. It has the power and ability to leave indelible positive or negative rippling impacts on our sense of self, on others, our community, our nation, our world, and all of our relations in nature throughout our entire lives. I think, though, the beautiful thing about us is this. Though our life experiences are indelible, our courage, our abilities, our perseverance to challenge, examine, and change those marks is wondrous and courageous. And this brings us to our exercise for today. As I was working through and putting this video together, I really got to thinking that a vast majority of us really don't understand the simple purposes of our emotions. So I thought we could go there. I thought we could kind of go back to the beginning of things. In my practice, I never start the therapeutic journey by asking people about their diagnosis, their emotion dysregulation. Instead, I often start with asking them simply, what do they think their emotions are? What do I think? What do they think their purposes are? So for today's video, let's go there. Please take a few moments and ponder the following points. What do you think emotions are? What's their purpose? Where do you think they come from? Nature? Nurture? Maybe both? What's your thoughts behind that, your reasoning behind that? Do you think they're healthy, unhealthy, or neutral? What's your reasoning for those points as well? The truth is, our emotions are neither good nor bad. Please take note of my air parentheses when I use the language of good and bad, and I'm going to encourage you to ponder that and maybe post a comment below about what you think that's about. But moving forward, our emotions are neither good nor bad. Rather, they're there to actually help us have and engage in our life experiences, even the uncomfortable ones. And when we come to realize this, when we come to realize that our emotions are in fact our companions, our helpers, not our enemies, through our life experiences, we can come to understand and realize that even the uncomfortable ones, the difficult ones to endure, are in fact there to help us. And this piece of knowledge can be a powerful tool to help us build self-compassion towards ourselves, and by doing so have a positive ripple effect onto others our nation, our communities, and all of our relations in nature. After today's video, I'm going to encourage you to sit down and ponder about the knowledge that we've just shared today. Please hit your like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notifications. I very much look forward to exploring gently and compassionately the emotional journey with you. Remember, one person, one idea, one mindfully explored and shared piece of knowledge does have the ability to impact and change another's perspective and quality of life for the better. Niao yo, and thank you for watching this video today. May you go in a good way.